Good afternoon, wildlife class. I miss you guys. Wish we could be in class instead of doing this as we are right now, where I'm recording our lesson and you having to watch it at a later time. Today, though, I want to go over a little bit about the parts of a fish, specifically the fins. That's going to help you identify fish because you are going to need to know how to identify fish for this last test, which is on wildlife. That's on mammals, birds, and fish. So I'm going to go through that, and I'm also going to teach you how to use a dichotomous key, which is options of having two things to choose from every single time you're looking at a specific part of the fish. Okay, so you're going to learn how to do that today as well, and you're going to want that common. It's called a key to common Wisconsin fish. So if you want to get that out at this time, you can have it up. I know I don't have copies for you, so you will have to pull it up on Google Classroom to follow along. But this is the document I'm looking at, and it is really important that you do use it to follow along today. All right, so to start off with, and if you want to, you can draw a picture of a fish somewhere just to have it as a reference point for you as you're learning about this. That would probably benefit you greatly at this point. So this is going to be my fish today. Notice it has no fins whatsoever because that's what we're going to add to it and show. So I'm going to use some colored paper that's going to show you each independent fin. Again, if you want to draw it, it would probably be smart to do that. So here's my fish. I'm going to add some fins to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is add the back fin. You know it as the tail fin or caudal fin. Caudal means towards the rear. So I'm going to add it to my fish. There's my caudal fin. Okay, then I'm going to add my anal fin, and my anal fin is going to be orange, and it's close to the anus, which would be by the tail or caudal fin. Okay, so there's my anal fin. All right, and then next I'm going to have a pelvic fin, which is going to be my purple one, and it's going to go right down there. Okay, and that's going to help guide the fish, as well as this pectoral fin, which goes on the side of the body. Okay, it helps to push the fish in a specific direction. And last but not least, I'm going to add on my dorsal fin. Dorsal fin is on the back. Dorsal means back. Okay, notice that my dorsal fin here has spikes that lead off the fin, and then it's rounded the rest of the way. Some have spikes, some don't. Some have double ones or smooth ones, others do not. So here's one that it has spikes that lead off to it. It can lead off in the front. Okay, and it looks like it has a double dorsal because two of them are attached there. Here's one that just has a single dorsal, all right, and it doesn't have any of the spines that you're seeing. Okay, another one that's very clearly two dorsals is this one. Okay, so it just depends on the fish, and that helps us to identify what kind of fish they are. One other feature you're going to find on a fish is adipose fin. Sometimes there's just a single dorsal fin, so like just one, pretend that there's no spikes there, and you would have a little fleshy adipose fin back here. And that would give us a totally different fish. Okay, so again, I'm going to turn this around. Maybe it'll be easier for you to see. Flipped. This is the adipose fin that I just added. This little red one. Here's your caudal fin or tail fin, your anal fin, your pelvic fin, your pectoral fin, and then finally your dorsal fin. Okay, so I hope that helps you better understand the parts of your fish. Now we're going to apply these fins to our dichotomous key. So if you have your dichotomous key out now, that's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to give you quickly an example of a adipose fin. Here's an example of one. That little fleshy fin right there. Okay, is your adipose. All right, so I'm going to grab a card here, and we're going to use that key to Wisconsin to identify our fish. So here's our first picture. We have two fish on here. They come from the same genus, basically. They're just two different species. All right, so we're going to identify what those species are. Some of you might know them just by looking at them, but we're going to learn how to use the key today. And that key can also be used on a test, so it might benefit all of you to understand how to use it. So if you look at number 1 on the dichotomous key, it says a body without very noticeable large bony plates, or a body with several rows of large bony plates. Also has whiskers and a sucker-like mouth. Now I can tell you for a fact these do have whiskers, but they don't have a sucker-like mouth, and they also don't have bony plates. An example of a bony plate fish is going to be your sturgeon. And here's an example of the sturgeon. Lots of bony plates. You can see them all along the top edge and side. And notice how the mouth is more sucker-like. Okay, so back to our example. Definitely not B, so we're going to go with 1A. If you read 1A all the way across, it says go to number 2. Number 2 says a single dorsal fin or 2 dorsal fins, and the second dorsal fin may be an adipose fin. I know I skipped a few words there. So we're definitely seeing adipose fins on both of these. We see only 1 dorsal fin. So we're going to go with B, which says go to number 7. Number 7 says a small fleshy adipose fin is present. That's a true statement. B says it's absent, which is not true. So number 8 is where that takes us. 8, one has whiskers and one does not. B does not have whiskers, or B does not have whiskers, so it's definitely not that. We're going to go with 8A, which tells us to go to number 9. Number 9 says we have a tail that is deeply forked, and then we have a tail that's rounded or slightly indented, but not forked. Okay, so again, I told you we had 2 catfish on this diagram. You're going to notice that one tail fin is very deeply forked. That's on this top one. Notice how it deeply goes in. Okay, versus this one is not at all deeply forked. Okay, so because of that, we're going to know that A, or the top 9A, is a channel catfish. So the top one in our picture is the channel. All right, but the bottom one isn't a channel. It's definitely different, and it has that rounded or slightly indented but not forked. So we're going to go to number 10. And number 10 says that the lower jaw protruding beyond the upper jaw is patchy mottled markings on the body, or the lower jaw is not protruding beyond the upper jaw. So basically we're just looking for whether the lower jaw is protruding beyond the upper jaw or not, and in this picture that is a true statement. So it has to be the flathead catfish. Okay, so that is one example of how to use these cards. I will post these cards up on the internet. They are also on the DNR website, so I'll give you that link for the DNR website, so you can use these cards anytime, and you can use the document that I've given here, the key, for you to figure out what those are without looking at the answer right away to help you use them. Again, you will have to identify some fish on the test, so this is going to be important for you to look at these cards and practice with this key. So one more example. This one will take us a little further on our key to the back side. Okay, so this fish here, again, you might know what it is right away just by looking at it, but we're going to use our key to get us there. So 1, it says a body without very noticeable large bony plates. That's a true statement. We already know that the lake sturgeon is the only one in our set that has the bony plates, so can't be that. We're going to go to number 2. As a single dorsal fin or 2 fins and one that might be an adipose, that's true. Again, we have our adipose fin, you'll notice right here. Okay, and then there's our dorsal. So has to be B. So we're going to go to number 7 again. Number 7 says a small fleshy adipose fin is present. That's a true statement. So we're going to go to 8. Does it have whiskers or not? I don't see any whiskers. So now we are going to go to number 13, which is on the back side of your paper. Number 13 says its tail is deeply forked or the tail is only slightly forked. I am certainly not seeing any deep fork over here, not like we saw on our channel catfish, okay? So this one is not deeply forked and only is slightly forked, or not forked at all. And we're going to go to number 16. Now it says worm-like markings on the back and a white edge on the lower fins. Okay, it's hard, I know, to see in these pictures whether there's a white edge on the lower fins or not, and sometimes they're miscolored a little bit. It's not a perfect system. But we're going to look for those worm-like markings, and honestly, I don't see any. I'll give you an example of worm-like markings. They look like this. Do you see the worms up on the top edge along where that dorsal fin is? Okay, that's what a worm-like marking is. This one definitely does not have worm-like markings. Okay, so since there aren't any, we're going to go to number 17. Number 17, the lower fins are speckled or the lower fins are not speckled. So look at those pelvic and pectoral and anal fins. Are any of them speckled? I don't see any speckling on them whatsoever. So we're going to go to number 18. 18 says it's prominent pink lateral line or the lateral line is not pink or prominent. Lateral line is the line that would be right across the center of the fish. Okay, so here's an example of one with a very clear lateral line, and it's pink. Okay, so our fish definitely does not have that pink lateral line, can't be the rainbow trout. Instead, it must be the brown trout because it's not prominent. Okay, and that's how you use the dichotomous key. I hope that you will be able to figure this out and use it on your own to help you identify, or maybe you're already a fish expert and you won't need any key at all. But just know that if you do need the key, it is accessible for you and you can use it on the test to help you identify these fish. If you have any questions about the fins or how to use the key, please ask me. I will do my best to try to help you through that at a distance. Take care, and until I need to record again, I will see you then. All right.